July 21st, 1944. Auschwitz concentration camp. Jerzy Bielecki, prisoner number 243, stares at the SS uniform before him, his heart pounding. For months, he's painstakingly and secretly been piecing together this outfit, stealing a button here, a patch there, until he had a complete set. 4 years of imprisonment have led to this moment. Reflecting on all of his suffering, forced labor, and constant fear of death, Jerzy knew this was his only chance. He had endured brutal beatings, starvation rations that left him over 50 pounds lighter, and the daily trauma of witnessing countless horrors and killings. The scars went deeper than anyone could see. His calloused fingers brushed the crisp black wool, the gleaming SS insignia he so carefully acquired. It must be perfect. For a prisoner, any flaw means death. Tomorrow, this Polish inmate will attempt the impossible, escape from the most notorious German death camp, using the very uniform of his captors as his disguise. But Jerzy isn't planning to flee alone. He intends to save Cyla Cybulska, a young Jewish woman he met and fell in love with in the camp. She's given him a reason to survive the daily horrors of Auschwitz. As dawn breaks, Jerzy, the captive, becomes Jerzy, the impersonator. He dons the uniform that he's risked everything to assemble. He takes a deep breath and steps out of the barracks. What happens next will determine if they live or die. Jerzy Bielecki was born in 1923 in the small town of Novaya Vilya in western Ukraine, then part of Poland. From a young age, his father, a veteran of the First World War, instilled in him a deep sense of Polish patriotism and national pride. As Jerzy entered his teens in the late 1930s, he watched with growing alarm as the forces of Germany annexed one European territory after another. When the German war machine finally turned its sights on Poland in 1939, the Bielecki family firmly committed themselves to the resistance against the occupation. At just 19 years old, Jerzy's first act of defiance was smuggling Jewish refugees across the border to safety from persecution. However, the Gestapo soon became aware of the young man's subversive activities. In a daring escape, Jerzy fled into the forest wilderness of western Ukraine. There he linked up with the formidable Armia Krajowa, the Polish Home Army's clandestine partisan forces, fiercely combating the German regime. Over the next 5 years, from 1939 to 1944, Bielecki and his fellow freedom fighters carried out numerous guerrilla raids and sabotage operations against the German occupiers. Living off the land, they struck fear into the hearts of German troops across the countryside through their daring surprise attacks on outposts and supply convoys. But the partisan forces' luck could not last forever against the overwhelming might of the German war machine. In the summer of 1944, Jerzy Bielecki's partisan unit was discovered by the SS during a raid on a German supply depot near the town of Nowy Sącz. In the ensuing firefight, the 21-year-old Polish resistance fighter was captured by German forces and faced deportation to Auschwitz. Upon arrival at the notorious death camp, Jerzy came face to face with the horrific reality of German atrocities he had only heard whispers of before. Subjected to daily brutalities, he was forced into grueling labor in the camp's factories and workyards. Cyla Cybulska was born in 1925 into a Jewish family in the southern Polish town of Tarnów. As a young girl growing up in the 1930s, she could scarcely comprehend the storm clouds of hatred and anti-Semitism that were gathering across Europe. When German forces invaded Poland in 1939, Cyla's once peaceful world was shattered. The Cybulska family found themselves forced into the Tarnów ghetto as the vice of oppression closed tighter. Attempting to escape the growing persecution, in 1941, the family made the desperate decision to flee westward towards the Polish region of Galicia, hoping to evade detection by blending into the countryside. For a time, Cyla, her husband Henry, her son Benjamin, and her parents moved under cover of darkness between remote villages and forests. But the Cybulska's luck ran out when a local informant gave them to the Germans occupying the area. Cyla watched in horror as German troops burst into the rundown barn where they were hiding one night. The family tried futilely to resist as the soldiers dragged all of them out at gunpoint. Within hours, they found themselves forced onto a crowded train car, beginning their harrowing deportation to the Przemysl ghetto transit camp. From that nightmarish holding pen, the horrors only multiplied further. when 17-year-old Cyla and her family were loaded onto cattle cars headed for Auschwitz. Upon arrival in 1942, this innocent teenage girl's life was forever marred by the camp's cruel initiation process. Shaved heads, striped uniforms, and crowded quarters. In the months and years that followed, Cyla endured relentless cruelty, inhuman labor, and the ever-present stench of death and burning flesh from the camp's main instruments of genocide. Her husband, son, and parents would be tragically sent to the gas chambers. In the midst of the unimaginable horrors of Auschwitz, a bond formed between two unlikely survivors, Jerzy Bielecki and Cyla Cybulska. Their paths crossed in a place designed to extinguish hope, yet their connection would become a beacon of resilience and determination. Cyla Cybulska, assigned to a grueling work detail, found herself struggling to keep up with the relentless demands. Her spirit was battered, but she kept pushing forward, driven by a will to survive. One day, as Jerzy Bielecki was passing by, he noticed Cyla. Her frail form and determined expression caught his attention. Despite the bleak surroundings, there was something about her that stood out, a strong will and flicker of life that resonated with his own. Jerzy approached Cyla. "Are you all right?" he asked, his voice filled with genuine concern. Cyla looked up, her eyes reflecting the pain and exhaustion she felt. "I'm managing," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. They would begin to form a friendship and a bond. Jerzy began to find small ways to help Cyla. He would share extra rations when he could, and offer words of encouragement. These small acts of kindness became a lifeline for Cyla, providing her with the strength to keep going. Over time, their brief interactions blossomed into a deeper connection. They found solace in each other's presence, sharing their hopes and dreams, and finding a rare sense of normalcy amidst the chaos. Jerzy's background as a member of the Polish resistance and Cyla's harrowing journey with her family gave them a unique understanding of each other's pain and resilience. As their bond grew stronger, Jerzy made a bold decision. He could not bear to see Cyla suffer any longer. He vowed to find a way to save her, to give them both a chance at freedom. Thus began the dangerous and daring plan. Jerzy Bielecki's escape plan was months in the making, crafted with precision and fueled by sheer determination. It began with a dangerous request. Jerzy approached Tadeusz Srogi, a fellow prisoner who worked in the SS clothing depot. "I need an SS uniform," Jerzy whispered urgently. Tadeusz understood the risk immediately. Helping Jerzy could mean death for both of them. But Tadeusz agreed. Piece by piece, Tadeusz smuggled out parts of the uniform. First came the breeches, then the high boots. Weeks later, the tunic and the cap. Each piece was hidden carefully, away from prying eyes. Jerzy also needed the insignia, the belt, and finally, the SS armband. The final component was the forged transfer papers, a crucial element that had to look authentic. Jerzy painstakingly crafted these, knowing any flaw could expose their entire plan. At night, while others tried to find solace in sleep, Jerzy lay awake, mentally rehearsing each step. He visualized the path through the camp, the guards he would pass, and the checkpoints he needed to navigate. The plan required precise timing and nerves of steel. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, as Jerzy's plan took shape. Every small victory, a successfully smuggled item, a completed document, brought him one step closer to the day of escape. He shared his plan with Cyla, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and hope. Together they steeled themselves for the perilous journey ahead. Jerzy's daring plan and meticulous preparation was about to be tested. With everything in place, the day finally arrived on Friday, July 21st, 1944. He dressed in the full SS uniform, every detail meticulously adjusted to perfection. He looked at himself in a small, dirty mirror to check his outfit before he stepped out of the barracks, then walked steadily through the camp gates, each second carrying the weight of a death sentence if recognized. It was working. Both prisoners and guards alike saluted him as he passed by. Jerzy approached the commando building to collect Cyla. She was terrified but calm. Her role was to act as an escorted prisoner leaving with Jerzy. They walked through the camp's arcane pathways, in uneasy lockstep, the rising sun casting long, morbid shadows. Each step, Each passing second stretched into agonizing eternities as the gate approached, their one chance at freedom, their lives hanging in the balance. Jerzy handed the guard their falsified papers. His hand trembled slightly as the bored German soldier scrutinized the documents, looked at Cyla, then back at Jerzy, weighing their fate. The silence was deafening. A bead of sweat ran down Jerzy's brow as he waited for the guard's next move. The guard, seemingly uninterested, eventually nodded and handed the papers back. With a curt, "Alles in Ordnung," meaning everything's okay, he then motioned them through. Jerzy and Cyla walked steadily forward, resisting the urge to run, each step taking them further from the hell they had known for so long. Once beyond the gates, the tension did not ease. They had to navigate through the outer perimeter and nearby woods, still vulnerable to patrols and informers. Jerzy led Cyla with a firm but gentle grip, guiding her through the underbrush, their breaths shallow and quick. It was their first taste of freedom in over 4 horrific years. Having made it past the barbed wire fences of Auschwitz, Jerzy Bielecki and Cyla Cybulska faced the perilous task of navigating through German-occupied Poland. They knew it wouldn't be easy. They'd be looking over their shoulders every second. Their escape route was meticulously planned. Jerzy, leveraging his experience with the Polish resistance, leveraged a network of safe houses and contacts along the way. Their first stop was an abandoned barn just beyond the camp's immediate reach, where they stopped to rest and plan. For days, they traveled only under the cover of darkness and hid during the daytime. Local farmers and members of the underground resistance provided them with food, shelter, and guidance along the way. The journey was grueling and fraught with danger, but their determination to escape the clutches of the Germans kept them moving. Jerzy's intimate knowledge of the terrain and his expertise in evasion tactics were invaluable. They navigated through fields, forests, and small villages, constantly altering their appearances and identities to avoid detection. As a former member of the resistance, Jerzy's experience allowed him to think several steps ahead, anticipating risks and keeping a low profile. Despite the constant danger that surrounded them in Germany-occupied Poland as Jews, the bond between Jerzy and Cyla grew stronger. The shared hardship, fear, and thrilling moments of adventure to survive day by day. They knew they had to reach safety, not just for themselves, but for each other. After more than a week of arduous and secretive travel, they arrived at the home of a Polish family, the Piekarczyks, who had strong ties to the resistance. The family welcomed them and hid them in a secret compartment beneath their barn, providing a much-needed haven. From here, Jerzy made contact with the broader resistance network. They arranged for false papers and new identities for both Jerzy and Cyla, essential tools for navigating occupied Poland without arousing suspicion. With their new identities, they could move more freely and reduce the risk of capture. Their journey eventually led them to Krakow, where they found refuge within a well-established resistance network. Having successfully reached the major city of Krakow and with new identities, Jerzy and Cyla began working to help others who were still facing the atrocities that they had narrowly escaped. Supporting the resistance, Jerzy uses his knowledge of the local terrain and his ability to navigate discreetly to transport important communication and supplies between resistance cells. He participates in sabotage missions aimed at disrupting German operations. These missions included targeting railways, supply depots, and communication lines to disrupt the movement and logistics of German forces. He recruits new members into the resistance and provides them with training. Cyla, though less experienced in resistance activities, is equally determined to contribute. As an unsuspecting spy, she gathers valuable information about German troop movements, local collaborators, and potential targets for sabotage. She manages safe houses sheltering resistance members, escaped prisoners, and Jews in hiding. With limited medical supplies and training, Cyla provided basic medical care to wounded resistance fighters and others in need. Throughout their time in Krakow, they worked tirelessly, often at great personal risk, to support the underground efforts against the occupation. As the war drew to a close and the Allied forces began to liberate occupied territories, Jerzy and Cyla continued their resistance activities until Poland was finally free from German control. Their incredible journey from the depths of Auschwitz to active participation in the resistance was a testament to the human spirit's capacity for resilience, courage, and hope.